William could have. Hey, I reckon you're there. I'm gonna wait until you come. Start the game.
My attorney had already been building a civil countersuit for defamation, harassment, and emotional distress. The false story my nephew spread online, the flyers around my neighborhood, the workplace disturbance, and the forged documents were all included. The case was filed, and we served both my brother and nephew through their legal representatives. While the criminal charges were being processed, my brother made another move. He contacted a local newspaper and gave them a version of the events that painted me as vindictive. The story made it through initial review and was nearly scheduled for print. One of my lawyer's interns caught the article during a keyword alert sweep and flagged it. Legal action was taken immediately, and the paper pulled the piece before it went public. The publication received a warning letter and confirmed that they would not be running anything further involving the case without verified court documents. Following that, the court issued a temporary gag order. Neither my brother nor my nephew was allowed to speak publicly about me, the case, or anything related to the car dispute. Any violation would be considered contempt of court. During deposition for the civil countersuit, my brother, under oath, admitted that I never gave permission to transfer the car. He said he assumed I would come around eventually and thought surprising his son with the vehicle would make things easier. That admission completely broke their defense. It confirmed what I had been saying from the start and added weight to both the criminal and civil cases. In court, my nephew had an emotional moment. He started crying and said the car made him feel supported and seen, something he never got from his father. He said the whole situation made him feel abandoned and isolated. The judge listened, paused, then stated clearly that while emotional struggles were real, they did not excuse forgery, harassment, or defying court orders. The judge ruled in my favor for the civil suit. I was awarded damages for legal expenses, reputational harm, and personal stress. The ruling mentioned the public attacks, false narratives, and continued attempts to mislead others as aggravating factors. Criminal sentencing came next. My nephew was given community service, probation, and mandatory counseling. Because of his age and first-time offense status, he avoided jail time. However, the charges will stay on his record unless successfully appealed or expunged later down the line. My brother was fined for his role in enabling the situation. The judge noted that his actions had encouraged the behavior and contributed directly to the harassment. He was also warned that further violations of the gag order or the restraining order would lead to additional penalties. A few days later, my brother released a vague public post on an old social account. It wasn't direct, but it was clearly aimed at me. He wrote about letting go of grudges and family isn't over, was traced with help from law enforcement back to a library terminal near the campus where my nephew went to school. My attorney's tech consultant, working alongside authorities, pulled metadata and matched the IP address to the public Wi-Fi system used in that building. A request was filed through proper channels, and surveillance footage from the library confirmed it was my nephew who sat at that exact terminal during the time the email was sent. The evidence was sent to the district attorney's office. With everything else already in motion, restraining order violations, forged documents, harassment complaints, the email was added to the official list of violations. It tipped the scale further in the prosecution's favor. The nephew's lawyer tried to argue that it was just an emotional outburst and not an actual threat. The court rejected that explanation. Given the full history, it was treated as part of an ongoing pattern of targeted harassment. The judge ruled to revoke probation and ordered him into a short-term correctional program. It wasn't a long sentence, but it was structured with strict rules and monitored counseling sessions. He was taken into custody the same week. Meanwhile, something else happened at home. I woke up to find my garage door had been spray painted. The words were crude and sloppy, written in red paint. I pulled footage from my security camera, but the angle didn't catch the act directly. So I checked with the neighbor 2 houses down. Their camera, mounted higher, had a better view. It showed my brother walking up the driveway with the hood on, carrying a can in one hand. He sprayed the garage, turned around, and left. It took less than 90 seconds. Law enforcement reviewed the clip and confirmed that it violated the restraining order. My brother was arrested for vandalism and contempt of court. A judge added new charges to his file, including destruction of private property and interference with an active court order. To avoid future problems, I upgraded my home security system again. I installed motion-triggered perimeter lights around the yard, added extra cameras facing the sides and back of the property, and set up a private server for storing backup footage. Everything was time-stamped and encrypted. At work, my manager and human resources met with me privately. They said they understood that the legal process was ongoing, and that stress was likely affecting my day-to-day focus. They offered a temporary transfer to a regional office across the state. It wasn't a demotion, just a break from the current environment and a way to keep things calm. I accepted it the same day and started preparing for the move. Before I left, something else surfaced. Several fake accounts popped up online, mostly on public forums and comment sections. They used stock images and random names, but they all told the same version of the story, that I had stolen a car from my nephew, humiliated my brother in court, and ruined my own family for no reason. My name wasn't always used, but the descriptions were specific enough for anyone close close to the situation to connect the dots. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. He passed the information to local authorities and flagged it with the cybercrime unit. Investigators were able to tie several of the accounts to IP addresses associated with the nephew's friends, people from his college and car meet circles. The platforms were contacted, and moderators removed the accounts. Local police issued warnings to the individuals involved, citing cyberbullying and defamation laws. With both civil and criminal matters still active, I made sure all legal files were secured in multiple places. Cloud storage, encrypted drives, physical backups, everything was updated before I relocated. I also left a copy of key documents with my lawyer's office, including video logs, court notices, and all the emails I'd received since the first incident. The transfer gave me space, a smaller office, fewer people, and no direct ties to my home city. I kept communication with my attorney open and checked in weekly for updates. Any new development was sent to me through a private client portal. Even with everything going on, arrests, court motions, new evidence, I stayed focused. I avoided social media, didn't respond to messages from people trying to mediate, and didn't engage with gossip from extended family. I kept my distance, stuck to legal channels, and let the system handle what it was built to handle. There were no more direct messages, no more door visits, no flyers, no emails, at least not yet. But I stayed ready. Every file, every document, every recording was in place. The only thing I moved was myself. Everything else stayed locked down. From the new regional office, I kept in regular contact with my lawyer. Everything was handled through encrypted email, client portals, and scheduled calls. The criminal trial for my nephew began shortly after I settled in. I didn't have to attend in person. The legal team presented all the evidence we'd built up over the past few months. The court reviewed a full package, the forged signature on the title transfer, the restraining order violations, the threatening email traced to the college library, the flyers posted in my neighborhood, the group chat screenshots, and the surveillance footage. From my garage and office, it was all backed with timestamps, eyewitness accounts, and verified digital records. My nephew's attorney argued that he had acted under pressure from his father and was overwhelmed. He framed the whole situation as a product of stress, immaturity, and bad advice. But the judge didn't accept that as an excuse for criminal behavior. Influence wasn't treated as justification, especially given how far things had gone. My brother, who was now dealing with his own legal problems, declined to testify. His lawyer advised him to invoke the Fifth Amendment, and he stayed silent through the entire trial. The judge reviewed all arguments and ruled that my nephew was guilty of document forgery, harassment, and violating the court-issued restraining order. He was sentenced to 6 months in a juvenile correctional facility, ordered to complete 200 hours of community service, and required to attend mandatory counseling sessions. The ruling also included a permanent protective order. Both my brother and nephew were barred from contacting me, directly or indirectly, for the foreseeable future. The order applied across all states and included digital communication. The civil countersuit came to a close shortly afterward. The court awarded me financial compensation.
I'm sent here to help the world be a better place. That is why I do.
In a world that no longer believes in them. Because in the animated movie, the elites are anti-heroes, and the world thinks you should kill off villains, and in the DCU movie, there's like a bunch of wars, and people are asking Superman why he stopped them. And in the DCU movie, Lex literally captures Krypto and tries to get Superman angry on camera. He's literally trying to rage bait him because he's too good for the world. I think it's safe to say James Gunn understood the assignment, because in the animated Superman movie, Superman gave us an inspiring speech. Hopefully the DC need this movie to bring hope and humanity.
Dreams lift us up and transform us into something.
For legal fees, emotional distress, and
wants this.
reputational harm. A lien was placed on my nephew's
Man, where
personal
is
property.
Record King?
That's my part of
I can't start the
That
game
included
without
custom
him.
vehicle parts, electronics,
Dude,
and
yeah.
gaming hardware. My brother was ordered to pay restitution in installments, and the court approved financial monitoring to track compliance. Out of the amount awarded, I donated a portion to a nonprofit group that provides legal support for harassment victims. It wasn't a huge sum, but it was enough to fund a few consultations with one people. Some relatives said it was kept arguing about family. I didn't respond.
Hello? See, I told you your first night wouldn't be a problem. You're a natural. By now I'm sure you've noticed
Please let
the
not
older
this go. Please
models
let not this go
sitting in
this
the
way.
back room. Those are
yes,
from the
please let
previous
not this go.
location, and we just use them for parts now. The idea at first was to repair them. They even started retrofitting them with some of the newer technology, but they were just so ugly, you know, and the smell. So the company decided to just go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly. Those older ones shouldn't be able to walk around, but if they do, the whole Freddy head trick should work on them too, so whatever. I loved those old characters. Did you ever see Foxy the Pirate? Oh wait, Foxy. Oh yeah, Foxy. Hey listen, that one was always always a bit twitchy. I'm not sure if the Freddy head trick will work on Foxy. If for some reason he activates during the night, and you see him standing at the far end of the hall, just flash your light at him from time to time. Those older models would always get disoriented with bright light. It would cause a system restart or something. Come to think of it, you might want to try that on any room where something undesirable
Years ago,
might be. It might hold him in place for a few seconds. That glitch might have carried over to the newer models too. One more thing, don't forget the music box. I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere.
Oh, you on the move.
I don't think the Freddy mask will fool it, so just don't forget.
Where's Balloon Boy? Where's Balloon Boy?
Anyway, I'm sure it won't be a problem. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, nope, not doing this. Nope. Yeah, nope. Nope, not doing this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.